Every time you chase her, you lose a piece of yourself. How Stoic men gain power over any woman without chasing isn't just a concept. It's the answer to everything you've been silently suffering through. You feel it every time she pulls back when you open up. You feel it when you give everything, and she still treats you like you're just there. You question yourself. You think maybe you're too much or not enough. You start walking on eggshells, trying to be the version of you she wants. You trade your truth for her attention. You shrink so she stays. But deep down, something inside you is screaming, "This isn't who I am." If you've ever felt this, comment, "I lead, not chase." Number 1, don't orbit her life. Every time you stop living your life and start watching hers, you hand over your power and validate her control without her earning it, because you're not orbiting her world. You are shrinking into it, and that shrinking becomes the very thing that makes you less visible, less respected, and less worthy of desire. Right now, in this moment, you're living inside your head, replaying every text she didn't send back, every read receipt that didn't turn into a conversation, every ambiguous line that you twisted into meaning without asking for clarity. And that's not strategy, that's self-inflicted confusion. And you feel conflicted because part of you wants connection and part of you wants respect. And those two things don't mix when you put her comfort above your own direction. You feel unseen because deep down you know you're chasing, texting, waiting for signals that don't exist, and that emotional hunger shows in every slowed reply and over-explained thought, weakening your presence and pushing her further away, not because she's inherently cruel, but because where there is need, there is no leadership, and where there is over-availability, there is no mystery left to earn. So right now you're reading this and feeling that pinch in your gut because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're orbiting her life the way a satellite watches a world it can't touch, and it slowly drains you because you're not engaging your own world, your own ambitions, your ambitions that used to pull you forward before you latched onto her smile as a measure of your worth. This feeling of being tethered to someone's reactions makes you doubt your own value, makes you replay conversations at 2 a.m., makes you go back to the same phone, hoping it will finally buzz with the answer that affirms you. And that's not attraction, that's anxiety disguised as hope, and it destroys respect every time, because respect is earned in presence, not begged for in absence. You don't gain traction with her by orbiting her life. You gain traction with yourself by detaching from her emotional weather and anchoring into your own purpose. And every time you choose your mission over a text thread, you reclaim a piece of the man you lost when you started defining your value by her responses. Imagine what happens when you stop refreshing your phone and start refreshing your goals, where you stop ruminating on her silence and start training your discipline muscles each morning, where you build something bigger than fleeting attention, because purpose breeds presence, and presence is what she respects, not neediness. When you stop analyzing her Instagram stories and start tracking your progress on your projects, when you stop waiting for her to validate your self-worth and start validating it yourself by completing tasks you said you would complete, you shift the dynamic instantly. Don't run to her messages, run to your goals. Don't beg for engagement. Create engagement with your life, and don't shrink to fit her world. Expand to build yours, because the man who is anchored in his vision does not lose ground to emotional uncertainty. He stands firm, and that firmness is visible in how he carries himself, how he speaks, how he decides without hesitation, and how he moves on when respect isn't present. Stoic principles say you control your actions, you don't react to hers, You observe, but you remain rooted in your own values and objectives. So acknowledge the discomfort of detaching without letting it derail your focus. Use that discomfort as fuel to break free from orbiting her life, and as you step fully into your own world, not just think about it, you start living it. You start showing up for your day, even when your heart pulls you to your phone, and that is where transformation begins. You address the pain to the core by recognizing that chasing her isn't love. It's a habit of dependence that you can break, and breaking that habit doesn't make you cold. It makes you strategic. It makes you guided by principle, and it positions you in a way that commands respect without chasing approval. Your solutions start with discipline, waking up with intent, structuring your day around pursuit of your craft, your body, your knowledge, your finances, not around a text bubble. And as you make steady progress in those areas, you build a foundation that no single woman can shake, because your identity isn't tied to her moods. You begin to embody the truth that dignity is not given by others, it's upheld by you. And that truth reframes how you interact with attraction and relationships, because you stop seeking validation and start cultivating value. And when you value yourself more than you value a reaction from her, you start moving differently in the world. Calmer, clearer, and far more compelling. Detach without disdain. Detach with direction. Use Stoic resolve to master the emotions that pull you into orbit, and use your clarity of purpose to lead your life forward. Because where you lead, your presence becomes magnetic, and chasing becomes unnecessary. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but the moment you decide to stop orbiting her life and start orbiting your own mission, you begin reclaiming the respect, the presence, and the self-worth that was surrendered when you stopped prioritizing your direction for someone else's attention. This is not cold logic. It's survival of your self-worth and the exact discipline that turns your current pain into momentum. And it's the reason why so many men who once orbit relationships transform into men who attract relationships with strength, not need, with purpose, not panic, and with clarity, not confusion. And in both cases, you win, because the man who reclaims his direction never loses, he only sharpens. And that's exactly what the Stoic relationship blueprint was created for, to rebuild your foundation with timeless principles that not only elevate your mindset, but restore the power you forgot you had. If everything you just read hit you somewhere deep, if you felt called out, understood, and ready to finally move forward, this book is the next step. And now it's available as an audiobook, so you can take in this life-changing wisdom while you walk, train, or even drive, letting the message sink in and rewire the patterns that keep you stuck. It's not just a book, it's your personal compass. It's yours forever, ready to revisit every time you feel lost or start slipping back into old habits. The link is in the comments. Number 2. Flip the power dynamic. The reason she no longer respects you is because you handed her the reins without her asking for them. You made her the center of a system that used to revolve around your goals and now orbits her mood swings. And whether she realizes it or not, the moment she felt that shift, her attraction began to decay, because no one, not even her, wants to be the one in control of a man who doesn't control himself. And you can feel it now. Every text you overthink, every call you wait for, every scenario you play out in your mind, imagining how to win back the dynamic that used to feel natural until you started overcompensating for her emotional withdrawal with emotional investment, thinking more access would build more intimacy when all it built was imbalance. She doesn't chase what she already owns, and she doesn't value what's too easy to reach. So while you think you're proving love, you're proving dependency, And that doesn't feel like love to her. It feels like burden, and no one wants to carry the emotional weight of someone who refuses to lead themselves. So ask yourself, what shifted? Was it the moment you made her validation the fuel for your self-esteem? Was it when you started filtering your decisions through how she might respond instead of through your own principles? Was it when you stopped standing on your standards and started bending them so she wouldn't feel uncomfortable? The power dynamic flipped when you flipped on yourself, when you abandoned your identity for the illusion of closeness. And no matter how subtle that shift was, she felt it. Because energy doesn't lie, and the absence of self-leadership in a relationship always creates imbalance, and imbalance always breeds resentment. You're here trying to fix the outcome, but what needs fixing is the root. The fact that you placed her above your values and called it love, when in reality it was abandonment of self disguised as devotion. And the only way to flip the dynamic back is not by punishing her, not by withdrawing in petty silence, but by returning to the discipline that made you magnetic in the first place, where you chose your mission first, where you said no without guilt, where you made decisions without asking for emotional permission, where you didn't hesitate every time she looked at you confused. And that version of you didn't need her approval because he already respected himself so deeply he didn't seek to be understood. He spoke clearly once and moved forward if respect wasn't returned. It's not about being cold, it's about being clear. And clarity is rare in a world full of emotional negotiations and unspoken expectations. So when you show up with clarity, you immediately shift the power because you create certainty. And certainty is what makes someone trust you, follow you, and want to be close to you. Not because you're controlling, but because your presence doesn't shift every time theirs does. Flipping the power dynamic means you stop over-explaining. You stop begging to be seen. You stop reacting to her silence and start becoming so deeply committed to your structure that her reactions no longer determine your direction. Right now, you've made yourself optional to yourself, and she treats you accordingly. Because the person who needs less always holds more power. And you won't hold power by playing games. You'll hold it by mastering yourself, by anchoring into the daily habits that build emotional strength, mental sharpness, and practical movement. Every time you pick up your phone hoping she's finally come around, you delay your own growth by prioritizing emotional fantasy over tangible action. And she feels that. You think she doesn't notice, but she sees the shifts in how you text, how fast you respond, how often you reach out with no reason, how quick you are to compromise, and every time you do, she realizes the scales have tipped in her favor, and whether consciously or not, she tests you more, pulls back harder, asks for more without giving more, and it's not because she's malicious, it's because she's responding to the loss of leadership, and she's hoping something inside you will snap back into alignment and reclaim it. So flip it. Decide that your time is now rare, your emotions are earned, your validation is sacred, and your presence is not a gift to be handed to anyone who simply shows up. It's reserved for those who match your standards, meet your values, and choose to align, not manipulate. And the fastest way to flip the power dynamic is to stop trying to be chosen and start choosing yourself. To stop running after someone who pulls away and start walking in the opposite direction with your eyes locked on your mission, your growth, your life. Because when you do that, she feels the shift, she senses the change, and now the energy moves in your direction, not because you forced it, but because you reclaimed the most attractive trait any person can carry, the ability to walk away and keep walking without hesitation. That energy is irreplaceable, and when you embody it, not fake it, not mimic it, but live it fully through your routines, your focus, your decisions. You stop reacting and start leading, and that shift right there, that's the power you lost when you made her opinion your compass, and the power you regain when you return to being your own guide. So ask yourself now, where are you compromising your leadership for attention? Where are you diluting your standards to maintain connection? Where are you choosing comfort over clarity? And are you willing to keep living like this, uncertain, unseen, and unfulfilled? Or are you finally ready to flip the dynamic by flipping the way you see yourself, value yourself, and lead yourself daily without apology? Because that's the only real way this changes. And once you do, you'll never beg again. Not for replies, not for love, not for respect. Because what's meant to stay will follow strength, and what's meant to leave will flee from it. And in both cases, you win. Number 3, lead without apology. You lose the moment you start hesitating, the moment you pause before making a decision because you wonder how she'll feel about it, the moment you filter your actions through her potential reaction instead of your internal compass. And that's where most relationships begin to unravel. Not through arguments, not through disloyalty, but through a man's quiet surrender of his certainty in exchange for temporary harmony. And that trade always leads to resentment, both from you and from her. Because what she wanted wasn't compliance, it was direction. It was a presence that doesn't falter when emotions run high. It was someone who sees clearly and chooses clearly even when feelings are loud. And what she got instead was a version of you that plays small so she doesn't feel overwhelmed, that over-explains so she doesn't feel confused, that hesitates so she doesn't feel unheard. And all that emotional accommodation you think is love is actually self-erasure, dressed up as compassion, and it always backfires because the moment you stop leading, she stops trusting. Not because she wants to dominate you, but because she can no longer relax into your presence when that presence lacks spine, lacks edge, lacks the unshakable calm of someone who knows where he's going and isn't afraid to lose anyone who doesn't want to walk beside him. You're out here trying to be agreeable, thinking if you avoid conflict, she'll stay. If you just adjust a little more, she'll appreciate it. But the more you fold, the more she tests you. Not to break you, but to see if you still stand for anything. And every time you give in to avoid her discomfort, you chip away at her attraction and your own identity. Leadership doesn't ask for permission. It creates space for truth. It doesn't suppress emotions. It holds them without letting them dictate direction. And if you think leading without apology means you have to become cold or controlling, you've missed the point entirely. Because the real leadership she craves is the kind that knows how to say no without guilt, how to hold the line even when she pushes it, how to decide with firmness and not flinch when she questions you, because that's the kind of energy that creates stability, and that's what makes her feel safe enough to soften, to trust, to follow. Not because you're demanding it, but because you're embodying something that most don't. Discipline under pressure, clarity without conflict, direction without debate. But right now, you're doing the opposite. You're stalling, seeking validation before movement, asking her opinion on decisions you used to make with confidence, and every time you do, you transfer responsibility onto her, and whether she admits it or not, she starts to pull away, because no one wants to carry the emotional weight of a man who won't carry himself. It starts small. You defer to her schedule, her preferences, her moods, and before you know it, you've rearranged your entire life around someone who never asked you to stop leading. She just asked to be heard, and in the process of trying to be heard more, you stopped being felt, And when she can't feel your energy leading the relationship, she begins to resent what you've become. A man who reacts instead of chooses, who conforms instead of corrects, who softens in all the wrong places and hardens in the wrong ones too, because he's lost touch with who he is and replaced it with who he thinks she wants. And that man never gets respect, no matter how good his intentions are. So how do you fix this? You reclaim the right to lead by first deciding what matters to you more, peace or truth, because peace without truth is a prison, and truth always leads to alignment, even if it creates temporary tension. And leading without apology means choosing that alignment every time, even if it costs you the relationship. Even if she walks, even if she misunderstands your silence, because the moment you betray your own clarity to maintain her comfort, you both lose. She loses the strength that attracted her to you, and you lose the self-respect that made you walk tall. You want her to stay, but not at the cost of losing yourself again. So stop being available for every conversation that goes nowhere. Stop justifying every decision like you need approval. Stop muting your instincts so she doesn't feel offended, and start acting like the version of you she was drawn to in the first place. The one who didn't chase closure, didn't over-explain intent, didn't beg for understanding, but simply led with direction and let his actions do the talking. And this isn't just about dating. This is about life, about walking into rooms knowing you belong because you've built a man you can trust, not one who hides behind politeness, and that man leads without apology. Not because he doesn't care, but because he knows care without boundaries leads to emotional chaos, and emotional chaos leads to weakness, and weakness isn't loved. It's tolerated until something stronger shows up. So if you're tired of being tolerated, start making decisions without delay. Start holding standards even when they make people uncomfortable, and start trusting that real connection doesn't require you to shrink. It requires you to rise. And when you rise without apology, you don't lose people who are meant for you. You lose people who were using you to feel powerful because you gave them a position you should have been holding from the start. And now it's your time to reclaim that position by removing the need to be liked and replacing it with the demand to be respected. Not with words, but with behavior, with decisions, with unwavering structure in how you move, how you speak, how you love, and how you let go when love no longer honors who you are becoming, because that's what leading without apology looks like. Not a performance, not a power play, but a quiet authority that says, I know who I am, and I'll lose anything except that. Number 4, focus on your purpose. If you're waking up thinking about her instead of your mission, you're already behind, because your mind has been hijacked by a fantasy that distracts you from the reality you need to build, and it always starts small. A thought here, a memory there, a hope that maybe today she texts first, and before you know it, your goals sit untouched, while your mind replays interactions with someone who's no longer emotionally present, and that mental drift, that emotional obsession, it robs you of energy that's meant to be invested in you. And the tragedy is you think you're being loyal by staying emotionally connected when she's already checked out. But loyalty without purpose is self-destruction. And you weren't made to exist in emotional limbo. You were made to build, to move, to shape something bigger than her opinions of you. Your focus has become fragmented because you're outsourcing your drive to someone who doesn't even know how to value it. And while you're busy checking if she viewed your story, your potential is quietly dying from neglect. And that version of you, the one who used to be obsessed with excellence, who used to wake up early with fire, who used to chase goals instead of people, that version is suffocating under the weight of emotional dependency disguised as love. She was never supposed to be your destination. She was supposed to be a companion. And the moment you made her your North Star, Your direction was compromised, and that's why you feel this void that you can't explain, because your instincts know you've betrayed your calling in exchange for closeness. And closeness without alignment is chaos in disguise, and that chaos shows up as anxiety, as confusion, as a loss of self that you keep pretending isn't there. But your results don't lie. Your progress is slowing, your clarity is fading, your edge is dull, and the truth is, you've been stuck not because of her, but because you've stopped showing up for the path that once gave your life meaning. And the longer you stay here hoping things go back to how they were, the further you drift from the man you're supposed to become. And that man isn't worried about a phone call. That man's too busy executing, too dialed in to be distracted, too grounded in his daily disciplines to chase people who are unsure about him, because that man knows that purpose isn't a luxury, it's his structure. It's the architecture that holds everything else together, and without it, he collapses into emotions that aren't meant to lead. They're meant to be mastered, and you don't master anything by waiting, you master it by facing it. And right now what you need to face is the fact that you've given her the position that belongs to your future. And that's why everything feels off, because your energy isn't building, it's bleeding, and she's not doing it. You are, every time you choose distraction over discipline. Every time you trade your morning routine for another night of scrolling her page. Every time you think closure will bring peace instead of bringing your focus back to where it belongs, on your evolution. This is about self-honesty, because nobody's coming to rescue you, and she's not going to magically see your value just because you stay stuck where she left you. She only starts to notice when you stop noticing her, when you vanish, not out of bitterness, but because you're so engulfed in becoming the man you've ignored that her absence no longer matters in the equation, because your equation is filled with time blocks, with skill building, with habits that sharpen your edge again, and no amount of longing can replace what consistency creates. So stop chasing her signal and start tracking your own momentum. Write down your next 90 days, map out your daily routines, measure your output, cut out noise, cut out comfort, cut out emotional dependencies, because every day you don't is a day. She loses more respect, not because you're unworthy, but because you're unanchored. And respect doesn't live in men who drift. It lives in men who drive, who build empires in silence while others check notifications. And she feels that shift when you make it, when you stop showing up emotionally available and start showing up emotionally focused, when your time becomes expensive, when your calendar is too tight for her inconsistency, and when your presence says everything without needing a word, because your life speaks for itself. This is the part where you either stay emotionally stuck or you break out by rebuilding, by showing up for yourself the way you used to show up for her, by becoming the most disciplined, productive, mentally sharp version of you, not for revenge, but for reverence, for mastery, for the kind of legacy that doesn't flinch when someone leaves because it's too locked in to lose itself again. And this version of you starts today, not when she reaches out, not when it feels good, not when things fall into place, but right now, in the middle of the emotional mess, because that's where leaders are made. In the quiet moments where most people stay paralyzed, you move, you act, you build, and you do it daily until your focus becomes so untouchable, so clear, so ruthless in its precision, that no distraction can reach you. And when that happens, everything changes, not because she came back, but because you finally did. Number 5. Be the man she can't shake. She forgets the man who waits, the man who begs, the man who explains himself 5 different ways just to be misunderstood again, the man who adjusts everything to avoid making her feel a discomfort she wouldn't hesitate to put him through. The man who tries to earn her loyalty through emotional labor she never asked for but gladly uses until it no longer entertains her. Because that man, no matter how emotionally available, how thoughtful, how invested, becomes background noise when his presence lacks gravity, and she walks away from him not because he failed to love her right, but because he failed to be someone she couldn't unsee. And that kind of presence isn't built by effort. It's built by alignment, by living so sharply in your truth, in your standards, in your discipline, that even when she tries to forget you, something inside her remembers the way you didn't fold, the way you didn't chase, the way you didn't break character when she tested every boundary you set and still chose peace over performance and strength over emotional dependence. And right now, you're probably sitting in the rubble of another failed relationship trying to understand what went wrong, wondering how you gave so much and still ended up discarded like an option. But what you don't see is that the very thing you thought made you lovable, your sacrifice, your softness, your constant reassurance, was the same thing that made her stop feeling you as someone who could be trusted to hold his own ground. Because deep inside, she doesn't crave your surrender. She craves your self-possession. And the reason she walks away isn't always because she doesn't care. It's because she doesn't respect the role you've chosen for yourself. And that role usually looks like availability without backbone, patience without limits, love without requirements. And that's not strength. It's fear dressed as compassion. And she sees through it the second your energy starts orbiting her behavior instead of leading your own life. So you want to become the man she can't shake. Then you have to stop being the man who needs her reaction to feel validated, the man who makes his decisions based on her feelings instead of his own principles, the man who fears losing her more than he fears losing himself, because that man will never be respected for long, no matter how loyal he is, because loyalty without identity becomes dependency, and dependency is invisible to someone who's only drawn to energy that doesn't flinch under pressure. You become unforgettable when your boundaries are immovable, when your silence isn't petty but principled, when your love is given freely but only sustained through mutual respect. And the only way you can embody that kind of presence is by becoming someone whose life is so structured, so intentional, so demanding of your time and energy, that access to you becomes something she has to match, not something you give away just because she showed up one day and smiled. This doesn't mean you turn cold. It means you burn quieter. It means your fire doesn't need to scream to be felt, because your standards speak before you open your mouth. Your habits show your value before you ever explain it, and your direction says everything when her emotions try to derail you. And when you live this way, not pretend it, not fake it, but actually wake up every day with a plan, execute it, prioritize your health, your knowledge, your mission, and stop interrupting that process just to text her back within 3 seconds, you become the man who lingers in her mind, not because of what you said, but because of what you embodied. And most people will never tell you this, but her silence after pulling away isn't always confusion, it's calculation, and she's checking to see if you break, if you spiral, if you come running back trying to explain yourself again, and every time you don't. Every time you stay still, keep working, keep elevating, keep maintaining the discipline she secretly admired but never admitted, she starts to question everything she assumed. And that questioning grows into curiosity. And that curiosity leads her back to your page, to your energy, to your name in the dark. Because energy like yours can't be forgotten when it's rare. And it's only rare because most men still think attention equals love and validation equals value. When in reality, the most valuable man is the one who doesn't trade himself for acceptance. And you become that when your purpose becomes louder than your pain, when your actions outlast your attachments, when your structure keeps you steady through every emotional test she throws your way, not because you want to punish her, but because you're no longer in the business of proving yourself to people who should already see your value. Without explanation, and that kind of man doesn't even chase closure, doesn't demand understanding, doesn't text paragraphs hoping to be heard. He just keeps building, keeps evolving, keeps showing up in ways that his past self wouldn't recognize, and that evolution becomes the exact reason she can't shake him. Not because he said the right things or played some game, but because he never needed her to complete him. And that completeness is magnetic in a world full of emotional instability, of desperate overexposure, of men who crumble every time they get left on read. And the difference is not in appearance. It's in behavior. It's in how you move when no one's watching, how you choose consistency when comfort calls, how you don't collapse when things get emotionally silent. And that discipline, that calm, that inner command is what makes you not only unforgettable, but irreplaceable. And when you finally realize that, everything shifts, because you stop living to be remembered and start living like you've already become the man you were supposed to be all along. If you've made it this far, something inside you is done settling, done begging, done shrinking to fit someone else's approval. And that shift you feel right now, that's the beginning of everything. Society doesn't want you to have this knowledge. They want you distracted, weak, emotionally manipulated, orbiting a world that never revolves around you. But the Stoic relationship blueprint tears all of that down and rebuilds you from the core, with timeless Stoic principles that don't just change how you think, they change how you live. And now it's available as an audiobook, so you can listen while you walk, train, or breathe through the moments that once broke you. The link's in the comments. Grab it, keep it, revisit it. This knowledge is yours for life. Comment, "I choose truth," if you're ready to finally lead yourself. Like the video, subscribe, and share it. Because the sooner more men get this, the fewer regrets we carry into the years we can't get back.